A very good morning to all the students of class ninth. And students, as you know, we were doing the first chapter of your economics book, and as this is a new subject for you this year, so we were trying to understand some important concepts of economics and some important concepts of production of goods and services. So we had started with the topic already in the two parts, and in the last video we had talked about farming in Palampur. In that we had taken the first part, that is land is fixed. Okay, that because of the change in demand, with the change in population or the increase in population, we have to increase the production, but the land under cultivation is fixed, we cannot increase the land. So we need to find the ways how can we increase the production. So the second part which we have taken in this chapter under farming in Palampur was ways to increase the production on the same fixed plot of land. And the third, in the last video, which was the last topic we covered, was the will land sustain, because we were using all the modern techniques and methods to grow more production, to have more crops on the same plot of land. So we were using pesticide in insecticides, we were using modern machines, lot of chemicals were being used, more water was used, harvesting, sorry, irrigation was done. So in that we were put into a question that where will land sustain. So we had discussed that what are going to be the negative impact of the modern techniques or the modern chemicals we are using to increase the production in a long term, what will be its negative impact on the soil quality, our natural resources will decline definitely. Okay, so today we are into the fourth part of the topic, that is farming in Palampur. And the fourth part is how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur. So basically all the topics we are talking in relation with Palampur, because the characteristics which are given of this village basically all are matching up with the most of the western UP and the Bihar region. So now we will be discussing here how is land, how in which way the land was distributed between the farmers of the Palampur. As in the beginning of the chapter, when we were discussing the structure of the village, we had discussed that there were around 450 families. Okay, so let's see how the land was distributed. And while you will be studying how the land was distributed, please keep this picture also in your mind. This is the picture given in your book on the same page, page number 6. This is the pattern they have given, how the land has been brought under the cultivation area, and there is no land left where we can do more cultivation. So the same plots of land has to be done cultivation to increase the production. So you can see there are some small plots of the small farmers, there are some medium farmers, there are some high class farmers also who have good plots of land, who have more land with them. So this shows the pattern of the distribution of the cultivated land in Palampur. And according to the farms, we can make out that what is the level of the farmer. So there are small farmers also, there are medium farmers also, and there are big farmers also who have more land under them. Okay, so this is the way how the land has been distributed. So we are starting now from in NCERT book only. You must have realized how important land is for farming. So land is very important for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. In Palampur, about one third of 450 families are landless. It means they are trying to say some families are there. Out of these 450, one third population of the Palampur is landless population. It means there are around 150 families who do not have their own land. Most of them are Dalits, and if we talk about their background, so they are Dalits and they have no land for cultivation. And of the remaining families, that is after one families who do not have land, and after remaining, if you minus 150 out 150 minus 1, sorry, 450 minus 150, the remaining families, they have their own land, that is around 240 families. Family cultivate small plots of land. Around 240 families cultivate a small plot of land less than 2 hectare. If we talk about small plots, in the picture I have shown you the small plots. Those small plots are of around 2 hectares only in size. Cultivation of such plot doesn't bring adequate income to the farmer's family. It means the cultivation which is done on the 2 hectares piece of land or the plot of land, it is only for the subsistence farming. Subsistence farming where farmer is doing agriculture or cultivating the land or growing crops just for their own family, or for their own consumption, so that they can have a livelihood. So this is 2 hectares is only for themselves. They cannot produce extra surplus where they can sell those extra surplus. And in the same picture where I have shown you this diagram, you can see the large number of small plots scattered in the sides. You can see there were small plots around the village in the picture. These are cultivated by small farmers, and these are the small plots which are being cultivated by small farmers for their own family to meet their own needs. On the other hand, more than half the area of village is covered by plots. Then they're quite large in size. So and some of the plots are really very large in size, which are covering the major part of the agriculture or the land under cultivation. In Palampur there are 60 families or medium. So we have seen there are so many small families, and if we talk about a medium families who are owning the land under them, there are around 60 families. They have medium. And if we talk about large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land, a few of the large farmers have a land extending. If we talk about the large farmers, they are having around 10 hectares of more of land under them. So the owners of the land, owners of around 10 hectares land or more than 10 hectare land, are known as the large farmers. And some farmers are medium farmers, and we know there are few small farmers who are cultivating a small plot of lands around 2 hectares only. Next is who will provide the labor. So he's going to provide the labor. Since we have seen the distribution of cultivated land in Palampur, so there are small farmers who are cultivating their small plots. There are medium farmers also, and there are some large farmers also who are having a area as 10 hectares with them. So from where we will get they will get the labor. So after land, labor, in the next necessary factors of production, as we have seen there were factors of production which we have started in the beginning of the chapter. So after we need land, and then we need labor is important. Labor is the next necessity factor for production. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. We know farming is not easy, it is very hard work where a lot of potential is required. Some farmers along with their families, small farmers, what do small farmers do? They take the help of their family members, and together they cultivate their small fields, which is enough for them to cultivate. If there are 5 members in a family, so easily they will be able to cultivate 2 hectares of land. Thus they provide the labor required for farming themselves. So they do not provide outside labor, they require the farmer, their family members, to cultivate that land. But if we talk about the medium and large farmers, they cannot cultivate the large farms or the medium farms with the only help of their families. So they require labor, so they hire the farm laborers to work on their fields. As in the beginning I told you, there are around 150 families who do not have their own land. So it means they work as a laborer, or the yes, as a laborer in the farms of the other land owners. So the big farmers, they hire the people who are laborers who do not have their own land, or many times they also hire the people who have a small plot of land, they have cultivated their land, then they are free, so they are allowed to work in the farms of the medium and large farmers. Same thing has been written here, which I have explained. Farm laborers come either from landless families or families cultivating small plots of land. Unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have a right over. Like small farmers, when they cultivate their land, they have the right over their farms and over their crops. But these laborers, farm laborers who do not have their own land, but as laborers they are working for the other big farmers and the medium farmers, these laborers, after doing their work, they do not have any right over the crop or the production. Instead they are paid wages by the farmers, so they do not have any control on the crops, so they are only paid wages by the farmer or whom they work. Wages can be in cash, so the wages whatever these farm laborers get, it can be in cash or in kind means whatever crops they are growing, some percent of that crop can be given as a wage to that farm laborer. Sometimes laborers get meals also. In some of the farmers also provide meals to the farmers which are working continuously with them. Wages vary very widely from region to region, so these wages are not fixed, they vary and they are different from region to region. If you move to the other village, the wages of the laborer or the farm laborer will be different as compared to the previous village. From crop to crop, the labor also differs from crop to crop. But for a particular wheat I will be paying a separate wage, maybe for corn I will be paying a different fees. from one farm actively to the another. Those there are a lot of differences. If we are only borrowing or we are only hiring labor for sowing, then we have the different wages. If we are hiring the laborers for only harvesting of the crops, then we are paying the different wages. So there are varying conditions through which we are paying wages to the laborers who are working on our farms. There is also a wide variation in the duration of employment. If we talk about the duration of employment, there is also a variation where we will find some of the laborers who are working daily on the daily basis. On some laborers you will find who are working yearly with the same medium or a large size farmer. Is written here, laborers might be employed to a daily basis or for one particular farm activity like harvesting or for the whole year. So here is the example of one laborer or one farm laborer who do not have their own land. Dala is a landless, it's written landless farm laborer. It means he do not have his own land. He is working as a farm laborer on the land of the other medium and the big farmers who work on daily wages in Palampur. So he is working as a landless labor in Palampur. This means he must regularly look for work. It means every day he has to look for the work, and the medium wages for a farm laborer set by the government. If the minimum wages has been set by the government in 2011, that was only rupees 115, and that was also not paid by the medium and the big owners of the land to these laborers. They only paid around 82 dala, which was supposed to be 115. So we can see here a discrimination. And there is a heavy competition of work among the farm laborers. Farm laborers are so many in number in Palampur that they have to look for the jobs. So whatever wage is provided by the farmers of a land or the owner of the land, they accept it. Like Dala was ready to work for rupees 80, instead he would have got 115, because there is a lot of competition. If he will not work, others are ready to work at rupees 80, so he was ready. So people agree to work on lower wages. Dala complains about his situation to now the two laborers are working, talking amongst themselves, Dala and Ramkali, who is another farm laborer. They are complaining with to each other and saying what has happened with them. Both Dala and Ramkali are among the poorest people in the village. They are one of the poorest peoples as they are landless, laborers and Dalits. There are so many points. This is the sixth point, and it is all related to the agriculture in, or the, yes, agriculture in Palampur or farming in Palampur. So all the points have been taken from that. So this is now capital needed in farming. Capital means machines here. When we talk about agriculture, capital here means fixed capital. That is, we have seen the difference between the fixed capital. So you have already seen that the modern farming methods. Now if you opt the modern farming method, it means we require more machines, more capital, and if we require more capital, it means we we need more money to invest on capital, so that the farmers now need more money than before. Most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the capital. If the small farmers having the small lands, if they need to have tractor or small for the small farms or some machines, they need to borrow money from the large farmers or from the village money lenders or traders. Of course they will be given the money, but in place of that they will have to pay the high interest rate on such loans is very high. They are put to great distress to repay the loan, and they have to work very hard to pay back that loan anyhow, and many times there is a crop failure. In that case there is a very difficult situation for the farmer, small farmer and his family, entire family. In contrast to the small farmers, the medium and the large farmers, in comparison to the small farmers, these medium and large farmers, they have their own savings, because that is why they have big farms. They have more surplus of food grains, so they buy those surplus food grains to the market of the town, and they get the income. So they have the money where they can invest money on the various buying of various important capital to increase their production even further. They are thus able to arrange for the capital needed. How do these farmers have their own savings? So savings, we can understand, they get the savings from the surplus of the last year production. So shall find the answer to the next section. So this is next point, sale of surplus farm products. As I said, how the surplus is being sold to the nearby towns. So let us suppose that the farmer have produced wheat on their land. Okay, wheat has been produced by a particular farmer using three factors of production. He has used three factors. The wheat is harvested and production is complete. Why? What do the farmers do with the wheat? Now the production is complete, the harvest has been cut down, so now he has the wheat with him. What he will do with the wheat? What he will do, he will retain a part of wheat. He will keep some part of the wheat for his own consumption, or for the consumption of his family, for the whole year, and the rest of the surplus of wheat he will plan to sell it to the outside market. So small farmers like Savita and Govind's son very little surplus wheat because their total production is small, and from this a substantial share is kept for the own family needs. So it is made. So they here they are comparing that it is only the medium and the large farmers who have the surplus, where they can sell their produce or the production to the market, to the towns, whereas small farmers who are just doing farming for their subsistence do not sell these surplus outside. So it is only medium and large farmers who supply wheat to the market. In picture 1.1 you can see the block card. When we started the chapter, there was a picture where there was a photo block card streaming into the market, each carrying loads of wheat. The traders at the market, there are many traders in the market. They buy the wheat and they sell further to the shopkeepers in the towns and cities. It means farmer will transport the wheat to the trader, and trader will furthermore sell the wheat to the shopkeepers in the various different shopkeepers in the towns. And they have given the example here. What does the medium and large farm holders, or the farmers, what they do with the income they get from the surplus after selling the surplus? So example, Tejpal saying the large farmer has a surplus. He has a production of 350 quintals of wheat from all his hand. He sells the surplus wheat at the Raiganj market. So he sells his wheat to the Raiganj market and has good earning. He has got a good amount now. Now what Tejpal will do with his earnings, the money which he has got? So last year what he did, Tejpal had put most of the money in the bank account, and later he used that money or the saving for lending to the farmers. He started giving loans to the small farmers who required money, like Savita, who are in need of loan. He also used the saving to arrange for the working. He also bought some of his capital, like tractors and other important machines, for farming in the next season. For the next season, to increase the more production from his the same fixed land, he bought some important capitals, modern machines. This year after the selling of 350 quintals, as I say, now he's planning to use his earnings to buy another tractor. Now he's planning to buy the another tractor. Another tractor would increase his fixed capital. Okay. So, like Tejpal Singh, other large and medium farmers sell the surplus farm products. So, in the same way, all the medium and the large farmers sell their production or the surplus. A part of the earning is saved and kept for the a part of earning is saved and kept for buying capitals for the next season. And all of them, out of that total earning, they keep some part of the earning to buy the capitals, as Tejpal planned to buy a tractor. In the same way, some or the other farmer always tries to buy something. Thus they are able to arrange for the capital for the farming from their own saving. So they are buying the capitals from their own savings. They do not have to take loans or dependent on government or anyone. So from their own surplus they are selling it, they are earning, they are saving a part of the total saving, and they are buying the various capitals required. This is only talking about here about medium and large farm holders. About small farmers, we have seen that they are just doing farming just to survive, I would say. Some farmers might also use the savings. Some farmers out of them, they are also using this to buy cattle, trucks, or to set up shops. It means now the farmers are also using their extra income or the savings to move ahead into non-farm activities. They are getting and having an income from the agricultural activities, but the amount which they have got from the selling of the wheat or any crop, they are using that money to purchase cattle, trucks, and set up their shops. So it means through this cattle, trucks, and shop, they will do activity, or they will move into the other business also along with farming. And though that activity will not be a primary activity, it will be a non-farm activity in Palampur. So that is why we shall see these constitutes a capital for non-farm activities. No, now from after purchasing the capitals from the total production. Now they are moving into the non-farm activities in Palampur. So now we will study this farm activities we have seen in Palampur. Now we'll see there were some non-farm activities also in Palampur. We have learnt about farming as the main production activity in Palampur. So till now, till this section of the chapter, we have only studied about the primary activity, that is how agriculture is done, about the land pattern, and about the various means of production or the factors of production we have seen. But talking about the non-farm activities now, we shall take a look at some of the non-farm production activities. Only 25% of the people out of 100%, 25% population of this Palampur village people are busy with non-farm activities. Okay, they are engaged in activities other than agriculture. It means other than agriculture, there are some more activities where people are busy, and those people are only 25% of the total village population. The first one is some people are busy with dairy work. Okay, the other common activity, dairy is a common activity in which many families of Palampur, okay, so some families of Palampur are into dairy business. People, what they do, people feed their buffaloes on various kinds of grass. So they are feeding their buffaloes, as we said, in the agricultural grounds. In rainy season they are growing jowar and bajra for their cattle, and through that they are having the milk is sold in Raiganj. The milk of those buffaloes is sold in Raiganj and nearby large village. So Raiganj is the nearby large village. So the milk is transported there. Two traders from the Shahpur, we know this is a nearby town, and here the two traders are coming and they are collecting all the milk at Raiganj, and where the milk is transported, and later the milk is transported to far off towns and cities. It means whatever the production of milk is done in the village, it is collected at a particular place at Raiganj, and from Raiganj these traders they transport the milk to the various bigger towns and cities where the need of the milk is very high. Next is an example of small scale manufacturing in Palampur. So there are very small scale manufacturing also, where they are preparing some things from the raw materials. At present, less than 50 people, only 50% in the whole village, 50%, not 50%, 50 people, only 50 people are engaged in manufacturing in Palampur. Unlike the manufacturing that takes place in the big factories, as we know, this is not exactly like manufacturing is done in the big factories, but here in Palampur there are very small manufacturing units. So they are working at their home only or at their fields only. They are not working professionally as a manufacturing unit. So manufacturing in Palampur involves very simple production. So those are the very simple productions, or producing some goods from the raw material. For example, I will tell you here, like Misri Lal is one of those 50% who is busy with manufacturing. What he has done, he has purchased a mechanical sugarcane crushing machine. He has purchased a machine to crush the sugar canes, and which is this machine runs on electricity and set up in his field. So in his field he has set up the machine. So sugarcane crushing was earlier done. Previously it used to be done by the bullock carts, but now due to modernization he has purchased the machine. But people now prefer these machines. Mishri Lal also buys sugar canes from other farmers. So what does he do? He buys sugar canes from the other farmers and he processes them into jaggery. Jaggery is good, in Hindi we call it good, जो आपका गन्ने से बनता है. The jaggery is then, so this jaggery is prepared by this Mishri Lal in his own manufacturing small field. Then he sells these jaggeries to the traders as Shahpur. In the process, Mishri Lal makes a small profit. In this process, he is also making a small profit. So these are the non-farm activities. So some are shopkeepers also in Palampur. As we know, when there is a village, so there are different type of people busy with different type of activities and functions. If everyone is doing agriculture, we will have problem where people will not be able to get the other services. So we need to have people having providing transport facilities, people having their own shops, people opening up the dairies. So we need to have different type of activities in a village also. Although the most of the population, 75% of the population was doing agriculture, but rest 25 needs to do some other activities. So in the same way, after that manufacturing unit and after the dairy, there are shopkeepers also, people involved in trading. Some people are involved where they do exchange of goods. They buy some goods from the cities and they bring it to the village, and in the village they sell products like It's written here: rice, wheat, sugar, tea, oil, biscuit, soap, toothpaste, batteries, candle, notebooks, pen, pencil, even some clothes. So these are the products which are produced in the outside the village, and these are brought to the village in the shops and sold to the people in the village. A few of the families whose house are close to the bus, and some people whose house are close to the bus stand, they use the open space there to set up their eatables. They open up shops where the people traveling by bus, they purchase the eatables, okay, for the refreshment. Of course, the last one is transport, a fast developing sector. Now this is developing very fast because we know transport is very important. When we travel to any village, people look for the transport system. So there in this village, few people were busy with transport facilities. These are variety of vehicles on the road connecting Palampur to Raiganj, as Palampur was connected to Raiganj as one of the biggest village nearby, and town also. uh, Here, rickshawalas, tangawalas, jeep, tractor, truck, diverse the people driving the traditional block carts and bogies. So these are the means of transport which you would find outside the village to connect it with the Raiganj. They ferry people and goods from one place to another. People carry goods from one place to another with the help of this transport, and return get paid for it. The number of people involved in transport has grown. Now the number of people who are involved in transport is growing day by day. So this was the story of the village Palampur, where we have seen how people are busy with agriculture. Mostly there are big farmers, small farmers, okay, and medium farmers. Then we have seen non-farm activities also, and the most important first section of the chapter was means of productions, or the factors of productions, which we have studied. With this we have come to the end of this chapter, and in the next video we'll start the next chapter. Till then, thank you.